Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'll be talking about how you can fill this form IMM5710 form, which needs to be filled when you're applying for spousal open work permit extension. So this is the case when you're applying for student permit extension as well as your spousal open work permit extension. So in that case, I'll be showing you how you need to fill this document IMM5710. Also, I'll be discussing about you need to keep out some of the documents in need to fill this in order to fill this particular form. So what all documents you have to keep handy in order to fill this particular form. Then we will also look into the details like step by step on how you can fill this form effectively. So without any further ado, let's get started. And along with that, I would also like to make sure that you hit that subscribe button if you are new to my channel. So let's get started. So first thing that you have to fill in this form is this is an application to change conditions, extend my stay or remain in Canada as a worker. So make sure that you are filling the correct form. So the first thing that you have to fill in this particular form is UCI. So UCI number is something that is present on top of your SOWP permit that you get once you enter into the Canada. So at that time you will be getting a letter from the officer. So on that letter, there'll be a UCI number. You need to put that UCI number over here. So once you have put that UCI number, next thing is I want service in. So you can select, let's say, English over here. And then the third option is I'm applying for one or more of the following. So for that, you can say apply for a study permit with the same employer. So there are four options. So restore my status as a worker. So that is something you don't have to select. Then apply for a work permit for the first time. Since this is not first time you're applying for work permit, you're applying for an extension. So you will not select this option. Then the fourth option is get a new temporary resident permit. So you're not applying for a new temporary resident permit. So the correct option would be apply for a work permit with the same employer. So we did a lot of research, and finally, while we were applying for our application, we selected this option for SOWP extension. Okay, so after filling this column, third column, you need to fill personal details. So there are certain documents which you have to take out and make sure that you have those documents while you are filling this particular application 5710E. So the first document is you need your passport. You have to fill your passport number. Then secondly, you need your SOWP permit, the work permit document which you got when you entered to Canada. The officer would have given you a document, so you need that document in order to fill your UCI as well as some other details. Then third thing is you also need to have all your employment details of the past 10 years wherever you have worked, the dates and the months, also where you have worked, in which designation you have worked. So you need to keep all these details handy so that you can fill this particular form without any delay. So let's come to personal details. So in personal details, the first thing that you have to give is full name. So you have to fill your family name over here. So let's say you give your family name over here, the last name over here, and then you have to give your first name over here as shown in the passport. So you can give the first name over here. Then in the second column it says have you ever used any other nickname or maiden name. So you can select your choice and then you can give the details. So let's say I select no, and then you have to select details over here. Finally, you have to put your date of birth over here. Then the fifth column it says place of birth. So you should know your place of birth and other details. So you have to put in your place of birth over here. Then your country or territory. So you have to select the country from where you are, and you have to select the country or territory over here. You can select that. Once that is being done, then you have to fill the citizenship. So whichever country citizenship you hold currently, you can select that. Then the next option is your current country or territory of residence. For that, it has already filled Canada by default. Then in the eighth column, it says previous countries or territories of residence. So during the past 5 years, have you lived in any country or territory other than your country of citizenship or your current country or territory residence for more than 6 months? So if you have stayed or resided in some other country for more than 6 months other than your citizenship country or the country where you are residing currently, which is Canada, then you have to mention the detail. So in that case, if you say no, you don't have to give any other details, and in case if you say yes, then you have to give the details of country or territory where you have stayed, and what was your status over there in that country or territory, and the dates when you have stayed. So let's say for the time being we select no, and then your current marital status. So you can select married over here since you are applying for spousal open work permit. And then if you are married or in common law relationship, you have to provide the date of your marriage over here. So you can select your date of marriage over here. Finally, provide the name of your current spouse. So over here you have to give the name of your uh, spouse, who will be on a student permit, because you're applying for spousal open work permit extension, so you have to give that name over here. And then it says if you are married or in common law relationship, is your spouse a common law partner, a Canadian citizen, or PR? So depending on your choice you can select that. Okay, guys, so once you have filled this particular part, providing the details of your spouse, then the next personal details question is: have you previously been married or in a common law relationship? So, based on your personal thing, you have to enter the details. So, let's say I fill no over here, and then it says native language slash mother tongue. So, you have to select your native language. For us, it was Hindi, so we selected that particular language over here. So depending on whichever is your native language, you have to select that. Then are you able to communicate in English or French? So depending on what you want to select, you can select that. Have you taken a test from a designated testing agency to access your proficiency in English or French? So this question, it basically depends, have you taken a test or not. So let's say we selected no over here, and then you have to give details about your passport. You have to give your passport number over here. Then you have to give the country or territory of issue, when where was this passport issued for you, and then the issue date and expiry date. Then depending on that, let's say if you select India over here, okay, and you give the details, these you will see that once you select your country or territory of issue, fifth and sixth point, they will become disabled. Then next comes national identity document. So do you have a national identity document? So in this case we marked it as yes, and we put the details of our passport, whichever passport number you're giving over here, you can put the same details over here. That's what we did. And then you can select your country or territory over here, and also you have to give the same details of your issue date and expiry date. Then it talks about US PR card, so you have to select whether you hold a PR card or not. Then let's say I selected no over here, then it asks you to enter the contact information. So if submitting your application by mail, so this is something that we are doing online, so you have to give your contact information. So basically where you are residing in Canada, you have to give that particular address over here. And once you select and give all the address details over here, then it asks you that your residential address, is it same as your mailing address. So let's say you selected yes over here, so these will become gray out, you don't have to fill the details. Then telephone number, you can provide your telephone number over here. Also you can give an alternate telephone number if you want to give. Then we didn't do anything with the fax number. Then in the email address, you can mention an email address, it's an important column. So when you enter your email address, you'll be getting an update on your email ID. Whenever there's an update on your application, you'll be getting a message, and you can check that message. You can go and log in into your application and see what update is there. So you can give your email address, that's an important thing to mention over there. Then comes coming into Canada, those details you have to give. So let's say the first point it says is date and place of your original entry to Canada. So you have to mention the date when you entered into the Canada. So there's a calendar over here, you can select the date when you entered to the Canada, and then you can enter the place where you entered into the Canada. So it could be Toronto, Vancouver, from wherever port of entry it was for you. Then the original purpose for coming to Canada, then over here you can select the purpose as work, since you're coming down for work. And then it will again ask you in the third point date and place of your most recent entry to Canada. So in case this is the first time you entered into Canada, then again you came down to Canada, you went back to your home country or somewhere else, and again you came back to Canada. So in that case the details can be given in third point. Then in the fourth point, it says, if applicable, provide the document number of the most recent visitor record, study permit, work permit, or temporary resident permit issued to you. So you will be given a work permit when you enter into the Canada, a document by your by the security. So that document contains a number which you have to enter over here, the document number. Then it says details of intended work in Canada. So over here what we did was, uh, what type of work permit are you applying for? So basically we are applying for open work permit, so you can select open work permit over here. Then in the second point it says details of my prospective employer. So in this case we did not fill anything over here. Then we came to the, we did not fill anything in 2A and 2B. Okay. We just wanted to make sure that we get an extension for open work permit, so that was the reason we didn't fill anything in 2A and 2B. Then intended location of employment in Canada, so I don't think, we didn't fill this one as well. And then we came down to, have you been issued a certificate under a PNP program? So the answer was no, we have not been issued, so we selected no over here. Then it comes down to education. So in education you have to give the details of your prior application. So have you had any post secondary education including university, college, or apprentice uh, training? So you can select that. So let's say you select yes over here, and you give the details of, when you did your masters or bachelors, whatever you did, you can enter the details over here. Then in the employment details you have to start giving your employment details, uh, in the order in which you have done, you have taken your different jobs. You can enter those details for the past 10 years. So you are given 2 3 options to fill that particular thing. So once you have filled the employment, you have given all these details, then this column comes, which is your background information. So there are certain questions on your background information, so you can fill these questions. Like it says, within the past 2 years, have you or your family ever had tuberculosis of the lungs? So you can select the details, basically whatever you want to select. So do you have any physical or mental disorder? Let's say you say no over here, then this area it grays out. Then have you ever remained beyond the validity of your status? Let's say no. Then have you ever been refused a visa or work permit? Depending on your situation, you can fill it. So in our case, we filled no. Then have you previously applied to enter or remain in Canada? So the answer to this question was yes, because prior to this application, we have also applied for student permit and also for spousal open work permit application. So you can simply write in the details after filling yes that we have applied for SOWP application earlier and it got approved. So now we are applying for extension. So that is something that you can mention. And if you want to mention any other details or whatever details you want to mention, if you have already applied previously to enter or remain in Canada. Then the third question is, have you ever committed, been arrested? So let's say select no over here. So this area it also grays out. Then, did you serve in a military militia? So let's say the answer is no. Then, are you or have you ever been a member or seated within with any political party? Let's say the answer is no. Have you ever witnessed or participated in the ill treatment of prisoners? Let's say no. So, do you consent to be contacted by ICC? So you can select yes over here, and then over here you can give your signature. Okay, so it will be a digital signature only, so you can just give your signature. You can write your name over here. Okay, and then you can select the date. So you can select today's date over here. So, and then once you have filled this form, you have to click on validate, which will generate barcodes. And once those barcodes are generated, you can save this particular PDF. And once you have saved this particular PDF, you can upload it where it needs to be uploaded. That's it for today. So I hope you liked today's video. And if you have any other questions, please leave them in the comment section. I'll try to reply to all your queries. And all the best for your application. And please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Bye.